Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some stocks on the move today. With us is Bloomberg News cross-asset reporter Emily Graffeo. She joins us here in the Bloomberg Business Week studio. Emily, what's on your radar?
Okay, so I'm looking at shares of U.S. shares of Spotify because that stock had fallen as much as 4%. They're set to report earnings tomorrow. Spotify has gained 35%.
I was just going to say
year to date.
It's been on tear this year.
Wow.
It was on tear last year.
I don't claim to know any inside knowledge into Spotify as to exactly today why the stock is lower. I'm assuming maybe it's profit taking before the earnings. But in terms of what investors are going to be looking for, how and when the company will raise prices. That's what Bloomberg News is writing today because they're reportedly planning an increase in Europe as soon as June.
But not here in the U.S., hopefully?
I don't know. Maybe they'll mention that tomorrow. And then they also said today that they paid $100 million to podcast publishers and creators in the first quarter. But it would be hard to imagine that would make the stock move down so much, 4%. But really, that was the only headline that we got out of Spotify for today. So again, maybe profit taking.
So hovering near its all-time high.
Did you see what it did last year?
Remarkable.
170% higher in 2024.
Yeah.
157% higher in 2023. I also think this is a sticky product in the sense, I don't know, are you a Spotify subscriber?
I am.
So am I. And I don't anticipate ever going to any other service because it knows me. I have all my playlists. Not that there are that many.
Oh, your ABBA?
No, all my Bon Iver.
Well, we had been talking about, I think it was last week, we'd mentioned that Netflix was tariff proof and recession proof. Spotify seems similar, like a similar story because
Sticky.
It's sticky. Are you really going to stop listening to music just because the economy is in a recession or
it's an indulgence that
tariffs?
Isn't off the charts, right? You can kind of swing it.
Yeah.
And you can get so much out of it.
It depends on how much they raise prices, right?
Tim listening to Madonna on the weekend.
A lot of podcasts too, actually.
Come on, you're among friends. Okay.
Bloomberg podcasts, obviously.
Yeah. Well, that's where you can get them.
Bloomberg Business Week Daily.
Them.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you can get every podcast there.
Bloomberg Business Week Daily podcast.
And Weekend Show.
That's so true. Okay. Boeing. It's actually higher today. I feel like this is another step towards the Boeing of the future.
Yes. So that stock is up about 2%. They had an upgrade at Bernstein to outperform from market perform. They said the aircraft maker is now making the progress it needs for growth trajectory, although the analysts did note that they can't assume all the risks are gone. And there are several piling up for Boeing that have been piling up for a while now, namely high FAA scrutiny and just, I guess, the negative headlines when it comes to just all of the troubles that this company has had.
And we did have Airbus agreeing to take over some assets and sites from Spirit Aerosystems, which then clears the way for Spirit to be acquired by Boeing, which they're bringing back, right? Airline boy?
Yes. They spun it off. They spun it off about more or less 20 years ago.
I say that because anytime we talk about an airplane, Tim knows exactly what it is.
It's a separate publicly traded company. Now it's being brought back under the... Hopefully this will help solve some of the issues around the quality that they faced in recent years. Bringing it back in-house.
Airplane man.
Okay, well, speaking of transportation, let's talk Plug Power.
Off the charts today.
We've had Andy Marsh, the CEO, come on our program quite a bit over the last few years. And whenever he comes on, I hear a lot from folks on social media. What's going on with the stock today?
So this is Stock Movers. So I couldn't not pick this one. It was up as much as 46% today.
Is this one of yours today, Carol?
No.
No?
I
might want to add it.
I know. I have another big mover. I have another big mover that's got above $1 billion market cap.
Okay, yeah. That's the thing with Plug Power. They are just shy of $1 billion in market cap. But this was the biggest jump in nearly a year. The hydrogen company announced a $525 million secured debt facility.
That alone says something. The biggest jump in nearly a year. This one bops around a lot.
Yeah, it does. It's been falling this year. It hasn't had a good 2025, but today there is some relief there for the shareholders.
It's still down, even with that move today. It's down 50% year to date.
Yeah, that's incredible. And the share price is it's just about $1.
Yeah. So a little perspective there.
Green hydrogen company.
Yeah. But you're right. And a big chunk of the float is shorted, more than 27%. So you get it.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.